Uh-oh. That's not too good. Yep, last night we had a gum tree fall over. It wasn't too windy, I don't know, just noticed it this morning that it had come down. So Dad shot down this morning and cut through the log because it was lying on the fence. And typically it has to fall on a new fence, so we're pretty lucky that because it didn't pull any of these strainers over, that one's alright. None of the wires snapped, the posts are all pretty good. There is a strainer through there too, that is fine. But then again, to sort of move these much would be taking a bit of effort. The wire would probably just snap. It's pretty loose at the moment, and all I have to do is just bring a crescent down and tighten these permanent wire strainers up. That's how we tighten the fences around here. We're pretty lucky that that's the only damage it did. It didn't break any posts, snap any wires, so it's a pretty easy fix. We don't need any more added work at the moment because we are flat out carving. But the problem with these gum trees, or eucalyptus, I'm not quite sure, there's a few Aussies that follow me, you can tell me. I think over here we call them gum trees, you guys call them eucalyptus trees. I think that's the correct way to say it, possibly. Drop me a comment and let me know. But on this peaty clayey ground, because it's pretty wet underneath, and I don't know if they like the wet, the roots like the wet ground, so they sort of branch out instead of going deep. And that means that these trees, because this is a pretty good example how there is no branches down here and it is all at the top there, so they get extremely top heavy and just fall over. There's probably 25 in here, which are roughly the same. Some of them have got a good lean on, so that means you got to be pretty careful when you're around them. I was thinking about putting the cows in here last night or this morning. I'm not sure when this fell over, so potentially that could have been a little bit fatal, but we will cut this up for firewood when we got a little bit more time. But I just spotted something, I'll show you. Check this out. One of my new cherry trees that I planted's got flowers on it, so spring must be just around the corner. But right, let's get into it. Check this out, we've got goodies. Each year we get something, usually it's like a cake tin. And this year, Good Together. It is our local milk company that gives us this. Every carving we get something. Marshmallows, nuts, carving pack. Oh, similar to last year. Some biscuits. This stuff's real good. So the milk that we supply, the milk powder goes in to make this avalanche coffee, I think. I'm pretty sure. And what else we got? Oh, more. Drinking chocolate. Nice. And some muesli bars. I just had a quick read of this, which was in there, and it just says that most of these items were made using customers' milk, so that's what's mainly in there. Get in the shed. So as you know, I only milk the cows once a day. That's why I'm called the once a day farmer. So why are these cows in the shed? Well, there's a pretty good reason. All these cows have calved today, except for two actually. This last one here, she got out last night, so we didn't milk her this morning. So she's coming in, and there's another one here that had mastitis, so we're treating her at night and keeping her out in a separate paddock. But these 5 have calved today, so we're going to milk them, milk the colostrum off them tonight, and then they will go into the milking herd and then only be milked in the morning from then on out. Just tying a little bit of baling twine around the leg to know that she's a colostrum cow. That's our indicator. Some people use tape around the tails or different coloured spray or something, I don't know, but this is what we use. It never seems to fail us, it's always worked. So if it ain't broke, why fix it? So the first thing that happens really is we get them in the shed, we put that leg band around their legs and we'll cut their tails in a bit. But we're just going to strip it now and see what her milk looks like. nice and clear.
Yep, that's all good.
So really just looking for anything lumpy or odd coloured. That is quite white. Usually it will be more yellow, more gold colostrum coloured. And once we sort of strip them out, then we put the cups on them in this test bucket. We don't put anything through the lines with the colostrum cows, and through the lines I mean this main milk line, because then you got to wash it. We just use these buckets here called test buckets. So now we'll just give the tail a bit of a clip. We usually try and do it before they get dried off, but we didn't this year, unfortunately. Much better. The passing shower. We don't really need too much more rain because it is pretty wet at the moment. Everything's pretty waterlogged, but you can't do much about that, and we are in winter, so it's to be expected. We did have a nice period probably 3 or 4 days ago where we had about 5 days of just fine weather, which was awesome. Things did dry out a bit, but yeah, turn back to mud now. But for the tails, all I do, or all we use, is these shears. They're just sheep shears, and they work pretty good. You don't need to charge them. You just sharpen them on a stone here in the cow shed, and yeah, they do a real good job. So it is pretty old school, no clippers or anything like that, electrical clippers, but they work. And if you're new here and you're wondering why we only milk once a day, just really fits our lifestyle, fits our farming system. And the Jerseys adapt to it pretty well because we are straight Jersey. All our cows are purebred Jersey. Every cow gets a double drench on their first day in, and then everything after is just a single one in the morning. But we do drench every morning. I know it is pretty old school, but it works for us. We quite like it. We know exactly how much the cows are getting. They're all getting the same amount. Plus it sort of quietens them down. It is pretty hard, like at the moment with all the heifers in the morning, sort of teaching them or them getting used to it, but they come right after a couple of weeks and it's not too bad. I put the first lot of calves from this mob up here outside yesterday, and it started pouring with rain, so I had to put them back in. But I opened the door this morning, and if they wanted to come out on the grass they could. A few have been a bit adventurous and made their way out. This is one of the calf paddocks, or the second calf paddock that we use up here. Just there's a heap of little paddocks around the shed which are quite handy. How many of you use this T-Dex? I've got this 20 litres here. I'm going to give it a trial soon. I've heard some pretty good things about it, mainly regarding teat condition. That's one of the most important things on the cow, really. I know the whole cow's important, but your teat condition is. So ours are pretty good as they are, but I think if you can improve on it just even a little bit, I think it's definitely worth a shot. So if you can, drop me a comment, and yeah, I'll be pretty interested to see what you think. Fast forward a couple of days, we had my daughter's first birthday on the weekend, so we had a little bit of a party for it. And Buck, who used to own this farm, he came along and he'd seen I put a thing up on Instagram about the tree falling over. So he thought he'd explain, because there is a reason why that they planted these trees here. He said that they're about 60 years old. And there's some big peat flats over, or just not far over there actually, on the way to Cambridge, and he said that there used to be heaps of gum trees or big lines of them out there on the peat. They're sort of not there now because they've fallen over, but the reason they did it is because these trees like a lot of water. They like to absorb a lot of water, so planting them on wet ground would sort of suck up all the groundwater and dry it out effectively. So I thought that was pretty interesting, so I thought I'd share it with you. But that'll pretty much do it, so I'll see you next time.